How could anyone possibly lose $1 million on the pokies? Honestly, I can't understand it. But that's what happened to Lana O'Shannessy. Outwardly, her life seems so perfect. A good job, nice house, young family. But Lana had another secret life, one where she spent hours every day helplessly shoveling money into the poker machines. And she's not alone. 100,000 here, 300,000 there. We found case after case of ordinary people who have lost everything because of their addiction to the pokies. And when you study the odds and the psychology of gambling, you see why you just can't win.
It starts out as fun, but in the end, I just end up losing everything.
For most of us, this is just a club. For John Duncombe, it's a personal hell. He's a poker machine addict. And like most addicts, can't say no to the very thing that's destroying him. Once in front of a machine, he goes into a zone. A trance-like state where time and money mean nothing.
You know, I've sat in front of these machines for hours and put $500, $600 in them.
So you've got no idea what's going on in the outside world then?
No.
You don't know that?
Well, you do once you walk out those doors and realise that you're broke. That's when the reality hits.
For the past 15 years, it's been a futile battle. At 41, John has put $300,000 through the pokies.
There's no shut-off. No warning sign comes up and says, have you fed the kids? Have you paid your credit card? Have you paid the mortgage? Shouldn't you be at work? I mean, hello.
Oh, I just don't like to look at it.
32-year-old Lana O'Shannessy is also a poker machine addict. Unlike John, she won't allow herself inside a club, certain she'll lose control. So even though you know you don't want to do it, you have to fight to control that urge.
I'm in love with these machines. I had an affair with them. It's like having an affair with a person. You just want to spend all of your time with them.
Lana seems an unlikely compulsive gambler. A mother to 5 kids, she lives a comfortable life in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales. But her obsession has cost Lana an astounding $1 million, her first marriage and 10 years of her life. So even though you had children at home, a cranky husband and a good dose of common sense, none of that was enough? To get you to stop?
No, once I was sitting in front of that machine, my mind was on the machine, nowhere else. So no, I was entranced.
For Lana, somehow holding down a well-paid, high-powered job, it was a daily seduction that could last all day and sometimes all night.
I stole from employers, I wrote bad cheques, I spent 7 out of 8 hours in the heaviest time of my gambling of the day out of the office. No one knew where I was, but I was the boss, so I didn't have to tell anyone where I was going.
Oh, some beautiful wins, big wins, excellent wins. This is what we're here to play a poker machine for. It's brilliant. We've got up to...
But the truth is, the longer you play, the more you lose. Far away from the whir and buzz of a pokey lounge, Professor Michael Walker of Sydney University uses a pokey simulator to show how the machines are designed to entice you before they strip you of your cash.
We should stop. We should stop.
Why don't we stop?
Because we want to win more. Look at it. We could win twice as much. We could win 10,000 credits. Let's keep going. But if you keep going, you lose the money. So let's try another one.
These graphs show the win-loss sequence of real games. The peaks are good wins, which keep you playing, but the pokies are programmed to always take your money in the end. So it doesn't matter how smart you are.
No smart. No.
How skilled you might think you are at playing these games.
There's no skill.
You can't win.
You can't win. It's impossible.
And sadly, you can lose so much more than money.
I said to her one day, you know you're not going to win. They're not designed for you to win. Oh, but I could win on the big one. I could win the big one.
For Chris Matthews' 24-year-old daughter, Catherine Nat, it was an all-consuming addiction which only ended when she took her own life 3 years ago.
She said that she couldn't handle it. She felt she'd ruined her marriage because of her gambling. She felt that she was losing her kids. She blamed everything on the gambling.
Catherine, or Cat to her friends, was a vibrant woman with 2 children. She started working at Adelaide's Sky City Casino, and while she wasn't allowed to bet there, Cat soon became hooked on the pokies at nearby pubs. She'd never gambled before.
She was putting all her wages into the machines, money on credit, wherever she could get it. It was awful.
So in total, how much money did your daughter put through the poker machines?
Over 100,000, I think. The fact that Cat took her life, the fact that Cat had a gambling problem, maybe the regulations that we've got in play now aren't strong enough.
She had a flutter of the pokies last night. She did.
And that's where anti-pokies Polly, South Australian Senator Nick Xenophon, comes in.
Doing well. Doing well.
He's joined forces with Kat's mum Chris to highlight how dangerous these machines can be.
That's the letter that I sent to the coroner, outlining why I want to reopen the inquest.
They believe the industry and governments, addicted to the huge profits the pokies earn, turn a blind eye to problem gamblers and want the machines either controlled or banned.
Look, it's obvious the biggest jackpot junkies in the country are state governments who rake in $4 billion a year on poker machines.
If 95% of the population can use them and not get hurt, why ban them?
This is an unsafe product. It needs to change. How can it be acceptable that so many people's lives are destroyed by these poker machines, that we have a situation where people end up losing their homes, their marriages, their lives, most tragically of all, because of their addiction to a so-called entertainment product.
Do you accept that poker machines are unsafe?
No, I don't. I've had a lifetime of experience in this industry, and I don't contend that. I understand that it's certainly an issue that some push, but I certainly don't believe that they're unsafe.
David Costello is CEO of Clubs Australia, which controls 117,000 poker machines throughout the country. Do you personally have any concern when you walk through a club and you see pensioners, old people, young people sitting there for hour after hour putting their money through the machine, just hitting that button over and over again? Do you worry about them?
Look, I have to give some confidence, I think everybody does, that people will set their own limits.
But they don't.
Well, they're there for various reasons. Are we saying that every person that plays a poker machine has a problem?
Not everyone has a problem with the pokies, but for those who do, it's overwhelming and clearly uncontrollable.
So the kids like the country life?
Yeah, lots of room to play.
Today, Lana enjoys spoiling her kids, trying to make up for lost time. At the height of her addiction, even they couldn't pull her away from the machines. When you were in the grip of it, you even turned your back on your children.
It's just not excusable. I can't forgive myself. I don't know if I ever will. I have a heavy heart.
Flashing lights, it's a real show. And your wife, I wouldn't go home.
For all compulsive gamblers, perhaps the biggest problem is the machines are just so widespread. For John Duncombe, living in Sydney, there are machines in almost every pub.
I've chased it from one pub down there to this one, and it's closed, and then ended up in a 24-hour pub, and I'm cold sweats and like a drug addict, like a junkie, just chasing and that illusion I'm going to win it back.
John accepts no one made him gamble, but now he's hooked, wants answers on why there aren't more controls. How often have you tried to get away from your addiction?
I've been trying for about 13 years.
And how do you try?
Locking myself in my room.
What is it that is upsetting you at the moment?
It's just everything's sort of, coming to the surface a bit.
Do you believe you will overcome this?
I have to believe. It's the only thing keeping me alive.
Poker machines make over $9 billion a year in profits. It's believed half of that comes from problem gamblers. Even some in the industry feel people need protecting.
Basically, the card goes into the loyalty players part of the machine.
Here at Brisbane's Sandgate RSL, a radical plan is being trialled to limit the damage these machines can do. Manager Daryl Wilson is using a card-based system that requires pokie players to register and set limits of money and time on the machines. And why are you initiating this?
Good question. I don't know. Most people think I'm mad, but if the industry is to be here in 20 years' time and still using these sort of things as entertainment, we've got to do something about it. There's issues, they're political, they're big. Okay, we're saying that we're a responsible venue. We'll do something about it. We'll take the first step. Someone has to.
For it to work, the system would have to be on all machines across the country, something Clubs Australia does not support.
I haven't seen anything yet that it says that will work. And bearing in mind also that we shouldn't be encourage a person who is a problem gambler to set any limits for themselves other than zero.
So if you clean up problem gamblers, do your profits suffer?
Well, no, I don't believe so. There are many that have an alternate view to that, but no, I don't believe so.
I think people would look at me and say, she's an idiot. How can you possibly put that much money in a machine? How could you even become addicted to something like that? They're just machines.
It's an addiction hard to fathom, even harder to beat. But Lana and second husband, Paul O'Shannessy, are trying to do it together. Strict rules, curfews and limited money is helping, but regaining trust was the hardest challenge.
To be told blatant lies is a demoralising and...
It wasn't because I had no regard for him, it's just part of what you do. It's awful what you become.
But we deal with it. We have mutual love and for one another and the kids, so that sees us through.
But for all the love in the world, Lana still battles daily to resist the power of the pokies. As frustrating and incomprehensible as this addiction is, imagine what it's like for those consumed by it, where almost every pub, club and casino in the country offers terrible temptation.
Can't gamble.
And you're not over this yet, are you?
There's just no one that can turn it off. Doesn't matter how you feel about yourself, whether you love yourself, hate yourself for what you've done, have a wonderful life, have a big house and great car, or have nothing at all. It'll be there for the rest of my life, I think.
Hello, I'm Nick McKenzie. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. Don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.